Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtottara Shatasha Srimad Shri His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtottara Shatasha Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Mahārāja Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Premsa Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Syama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dhama Ki Jai. Mayapur Dhama Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dhama Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulasī Devi Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Sure, Prabhupada. So, okay. Om Narayanam Namaskritya Naranjaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishchiki Bhajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Now, I think we didn't read text 17 translation, so I'm going to read 17 and then go to 18. Okay, and I'll just read the translation for 17. Mahārāja Ambarīṣa was a great devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, and of the saintly persons who are the Lord's devotees. Because of this devotion, he thought of the entire universe as being as insignificant as a piece of stone. Okay, so just do 18, right? Dravid Prabhu, peace, praise. Okay. Sa vai manaha Krishna padara vindayoh vachamsi vaikunta guna Vaikunta guna anuvarnane Karo Harer Mandira Marjanadishu Srutim Chakarakchuta Sat Katodaye. Okay, so let's try this. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor Vachamsi vaikunta gunanuvarnane Karo harer mandira marjanadishu Srutim chakarachyuta sat kathodaye Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor Vachamsi vaikunta gunanuvarnane Karo harer mandira marjanadishu Shrutim chakarachyuta sat kathodaye Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor Vachamsi vaikunta gunanuvarnane Karo harer mandira marjanadishu Srutim chakarachyuta sat kathodaye Savamana Krishna padara vindayor Vachamsi vaikunta gunanuvarnane Karo harer mandira marjanadishu Shrutim chakarachyuta sat kathodaye Savai mana Krishna padara vindayor Vachamsi vaikunta gunanuvarnane Karo harer mandira marjanadishu Simjakara jasato utpodaye. Samamana Krishna padara vindayo. Vajansi varnanda vidanu varnane. Pranavana manda marjanadishu. Sakim sagara jakato talodaya. Ladies? Sabai Pumna Krishna Padara Vindayor Vacham Sivai Kunta Gunanu Varnane Aramana Mandar Madharadishu Srutim Chakara Chuta Satkathodaye. Anybody online? Saha he, Mahārāja Ambarīṣa. Vai, indeed. Manaha, his mind. Krishna pada aravindayoh, fixed upon the two lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Vachamsi, his words. Vaikunta guna anuvarnane, describing the glories of Krishna. Karo, his two hands. Harehe mandiramarjanadishu, in activities like cleansing the temple of Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srutim, his ear. Chakara, engaged. Achyuta, of or about Krishna, who never falls down. Sat Katha Udaye, in hearing the transcendental narrations. Mukunda Linga Alaya Darshane, in seeing the deity and the temples and holy dhams of Mukunda. Drushau, his two eyes. Oh, wait a minute. Am I going Tat Kathodaya? Sorry. Okay. I got carried away. Translation. Mahārāja Ambarīṣa always engaged his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna, his words in describing the glories of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, and his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temples and Krishna's places like Mathurā and Vṛndāvana. He engaged his sense of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees. He engaged his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of tulasī offered to the Lord, and he engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasāda. He engaged his legs in walking to the holy places and temples of the Lord, his head in bowing down before the Lord, and all his desires in serving the Lord 24 hours a day. Indeed, Mahārāja Ambarīṣa never desired anything for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service in various engagements related to the Lord. This is the way to increase attachment for the Lord and be completely free from all material desires. Purport. In Bhagavad Gita 7.1, the Lord recommends Maya Shakta Manah Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashrayaha. This indicates that one must execute devotional service under the guidance of a devotee or directly under the guidance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is not possible, however, to train oneself without guidance from the spiritual master. Therefore, according to the instructions of Srila Rupa Goswami, the first business of a devotee is to accept a bona fide spiritual master who can train him to engage his various senses in rendering transcendental service to the Lord. The Lord also says in Bhagavad Gita, Asamsayam samagram mam yatha jñāsyasi tatshrunu. In other words, if one wants to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead in completeness, one must follow the prescriptions given to Krishna by following in the footsteps of Mahārāja Ambarīṣa. It is said, Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. Bhakti means to engage the senses in the service of the master of the senses, Krishna, who is called Hrishikesha or Achyuta. These words are used in these verses. Achyuta sat kathodaye, Hrishikesha padabhivandane. The words Achyuta and Hrishikesha are also used in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is Krishna Katha spoken directly by Krishna, and Srimad Bhagavatam is also Krishna Katha because everything described in the Bhagavatam is in relationship with Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmitam Jnana Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Jayapataka Swaminiti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Pastyatya Deshtani. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Vancha Kalpatarumpyascha Krupa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat krupatamaham vande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, wow, fantastic verse. This, like to share a couple of thoughts. First, let's go to the purport of 7.1. So, well, one of the things that I like to do, and first of all, I want to thank the devotees for these wonderful classes, especially the discussion that comes out of these. I think this is the way we churn Bhagavatam, and this is the way we get the saram, or the essence of it. So every time, I speak about this a lot. When I'm reading the Bhagavatam, reading anything, but particularly the Bhagavatam specifically, is I want to find out what's the point. What's the pattern? I'm a person that wants to see what's the message. And I like puzzles. There's got to be something in there hidden. What is it? And so I was thinking about this verse. I was thinking about this verse, where it's placed in the Bhagavatam, the different things that we have been coming through in the Bhagavatam up to this point. And I have like a thought, and I would like to present it to you, and let's try to see if we can churn it a little. So the Bhagavatam, I see, has having many different themes, in a sense. Main thing that I see when you look at it overall is the four chatur purusharthas, the four purusharthas, translation I forgot, goals of human life, and then the pancha purushartha, the fifth goal of life, right? So throughout the Bhagavatam, we see duty, dharma, everybody's dharma, the dharma of a king to his subjects, the dharma of subjects to a king, husband to a wife, wife to a husband, guru to a sishya, to a student, disciple, all these different things that we see, family responsibilities, all these things. So what the Bhagavatam appears to be superficially, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Okay, you see it in that view. You see dharma going. People are enjoying. They are doing, living a righteous life, enjoying, learning, enjoying, eventually coming to moksha. Okay, so that's the kind of the superficial thing. And then we think about when Srila Prabhupada talks about pravrutti and nivrutti, right? Pravrutti is doing your duties or doing things for a certain goal in mind. It may be heavenly planets, it may be moksha, it could be anything. But there's a process. So the next level you look at, the Srimad Bhagavatam is giving you a process. A process, if you want to do the pravrutti marg, you follow this process. Okay, you follow this process of pravrutti marg, which means just doing your duty and eventually, gradually attaining moksha, But is that the end goal? Is moksha the end goal of the Bhagavatam? I ask you. Is it? No. What is the end goal of the Bhagavatam? Yes. And I mean, when I was looking through this, I cannot tell you how excited I was getting. You look at the Bhagavad Gita, and I was just comparing it to the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada is brilliant. I can only tell you that Srila Prabhupada is brilliant because of his purports. Of course, Vyasadeva is brilliant because of the Bhagavatam. But Srila Prabhupada is simply brilliant. And the reason why, I'll tell you. Bhagavad Gita starts with duty. Arjuna, do your duty, etc., etc., etc. He talks about all the different steps of yoga, the different processes. But what does he say at the end? Krishna, I'm sorry, what does Krishna say at the end? Right? Sarva dharma prityaja mam se. Yeah, right? He said, surrender, forget all your duties, surrender unto me. Fine. Srila Prabhupada explains that was an instruction, but how do you do that? How do you do that? Then appears the Bhagavatam. Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam with the purports. And the way he does this is brilliant, okay? So this is the first, I'm not going to quote many verses, I'm just going to give some kind of highlights. So vai pumsa paro dharmo yato bhakti rajokshaje ahaituki apritihata yayatma suprasidati. So the highest dharma for all living entities is that which teaches them devotion to Krishna, adokshaja, that has no ulterior motive. Okay, so that's given. So he gives that right in the beginning. But then he goes through the Bhagavatam and he tells you all these different stories. So some of the highlights. I've got so many thoughts in this, and I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for you to understand my thought process. He talks about the Mahajanas. Okay? He talks about all the Mahajanas. We go through each of the Mahajanas, why they're Mahajanas. You have Yamaraj, who teaches the Yamadutas about Bhakti and about Krishna's place, about he's the one that creates the rules of dharma and religion, right? So that's one. You have Bhishma Dev. What is Bhishma Dev? I mean, Bhishma Dev, the one lesson I get from Bhishma Dev is he tells the Pandavas, this, you're devotees and you're suffering all these things, but that's the package deal. That's what you get in this material world. You can't avoid it. And it's funny because this is what I was thinking about. It's like gambling in a casino. Who always wins? The house always wins, right? It's rigged. It's rigged. You can't win. That's the same with this material world. You can't win. You can't win over Maya like this by playing the game. The only way that you can win over Maya is get out of there. Right? Srila Prabhupada says the house is burning, just get out. So the Bhagavatam is telling you, get out. At the same time, it's also highlighting the lives of the devotees that are here. See, it's not enough that he tells you get out, because we're suffering. It's not, so yeah, you get out, yeah, that's fine, but why am I suffering? Srila Prabhupada then explains, but pure devotees also go through this. Why do they go through this? And I have 3 reasons. It's for glorification, purification, and transformation. Glorification who? Glorification of the pure devotee. Look at everything the Pandavas have gone through. Look at everything Draupadi has gone through. I mean, her children being disrobed. Did she ever forget Krishna? Okay, so transformation for us because we see how those devotees act. Transformation for us because we say, oh my gosh, this is how you do it. And a purification also for us as we listen. So that purification, that transformation happens to us as we hear this glorification of these devotees. So that's what Bhishma Dev gives that lesson. We have all these lessons that come through. And then Krishna does something even more special, okay? You have, oh my God, so many things. His Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela. Oh my goodness. So Krishna's Nama, Rupa, Guna, his name, his form, his qualities, and his pastimes are described throughout. Particularly, Ajamila's story tells us about Nama, the power of the Nama, the potency of the Nama, how Nama is non-different from Krishna. All these different things, these little lessons, Srila Prabhupada has put in the purports, and he's pulling them out one by one. And it's like Krishna's in the beginning, because Bhagavatam starts with Krishna, right, and with the whole thing. And then the end is also Krishna, and the end meaning 10th canto. So this is a process. 10th canto is about Krishna, and everything in between, another lesson. Everything is Krishna, the beginning, the end, and everything in between, another lesson of how we understand Krishna. And then he talks about Prahlad Maharaj talks about the 9 processes of devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Arjuna Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. We see all these things throughout the Bhagavatam. We're given these examples of people who represent, hearing, Mahārāja Parikshit, chanting, Sukadeva Goswami, etc., etc. Where do we end at? Who's the last person we talked about before? Before Ambarīṣa Maharaj. Who said that? Yes, Bali Maharaj. What does Bali Maharaj represent? Full surrender, Atmanivedanam, right? After Atmanivedanam, then comes Ambarīṣa Maharaj. Up to this point, all these other devotees are giving one aspect of the 9 processes, right? Ambarīṣa does everything. Srila Prabhupada, the Bhagavatam has just brought us through all the 9 processes, all the way to Ambarīṣa Maharaj. They have brought us starting from Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, all the way to the point of devotional service. That's what Srila Prabhupada is giving us, all the way to devotional service. Eventually, after Ambarīṣa, after the 9th canto, what do we come to? What canto? Krishna, pure bhakti, right? So pure bhakti, and you follow the purports of Srila Prabhupada, then you understand that this is what he's leading us. Bhagavad Gita led us from duty, dharma, to sarva dharma parityajya. Bhagavatam is leading us through the 4 purusharthas, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, slowly, all the way to the panchama purushartha, showing us devotional service, at the same time interspersing Krishna's nama, rupa, guna, lila to keep us excited, interspersed with devotees' a story so we can get inspired and transformed, leads us to Mahārāja Ambarīṣa and pure devotional service. And how do we do it? How can we do it? He has just given us a roadmap. Srila Prabhupada and Vyasa Maharshi have just given a roadmap in the book all the way. And then they lead us to Krishna and all the pastimes and the ultimate goal. But then when you go on to the other cantos, it talks about Kali Yuga and all that it entails. And then Srila Prabhupada explains, after Srimad Bhagavatam, read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Why? Because we can't jump to the gopis level. It doesn't mean go from Mahārāja Ambarīṣa to the gopis. That's not what it means. Understand what the gopis' bhava is, and then follow in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and you also will get to that point where you understand who you are. So when I read this and saw this, it just excited me more and more. I was thinking a couple of things. The Bhagavad Gita is part of the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata was accessible to the general populace. Everybody in Vedic times, everybody knew the story, in past history, Bharat Desam, everybody knew about the Mahabharata. They knew the lessons of Mahabharata to teach the common man dharma. It was also, plays and verses and songs based on that. Bhagavad Gita is the jewel within that. And that was understood just to a few. And the jewel and the Srimad Bhagavatam, very few people could understand Bhagavatam before. It wasn't even accessible to everybody. So even if they could read it, they probably, unless they were very, very realized, probably got the Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha part out of it and read the translations. But Srila Prabhupada put his heart and soul in those purports so that we can understand the essence. So just imagine, so I keep thinking, no, it's a never-ending jewel, this Bhagavatam. You can keep reading and reading, and you unearth more and more jewels. And so I will stop there. I think I said most of what I wanted to say. But, like I said, I wanted to highlight the glories of the Bhagavatam and why Ambarīṣa Mahārāja, why at this time, and how we can follow in his footsteps by doing everything that we can with Krishna in mind. We have Srila Prabhupada as our perfect example of someone who lived like, and who exemplified what Mahārāja Ambarīṣa did. And also one other thing I want to say is that these pure devotees, when they come down. They don't come take birth because they have to. They are like the heroes, the volunteers, who say, I'll go down. And that's what Prabhupada did. He said, I'll go down there, and I'll bring them back. And that's what like I said, I cannot tell you how. I couldn't sleep all night last night because I kept thinking about this. I wanted to go back to Bhagavatam and see what more I could discover. But anyway, those are my thoughts. Please share. I would love any discussion about this. Does it make sense? And what jewels and my question to you, what jewels have you found in the Bhagavatam? We are now on the 9th canto. What jewels, what lessons, what realizations? I would love to hear. Thank you very much.
Phanesvari, you have to write a book on all this. That book can be studied along with the Bhagavatam, and we'll get a tremendous benefit from it.
I'll go to
So one thing that I like to point out is how the sages, and Shukadev and Vyasadeva, who are delivering the Bhagavatam, I always am amazed at how much Prabhupada quoted from the second chapter, first canto, Sabai Pungsang Paro Dharma, when the verses up to Vidyate Vidya Grantas. And I was thinking, these great sages, they knew that these Kali Yugites are not going to read the whole 18,000 verses. They'll read parts of it. So at the beginning, they gave those 20 verses or so, which are a complete lesson in Bhakti.
Yes. And
you end up with Vidyate Vidya Grantas Chidjande Savachiyande. And Prabhupada spends at the beginning of the purport, what that last line means, that one who sees Krishna within his heart also sees himself. So you understand yourself, and that means your relationship with Krishna. So everything is there. And it's all based on hearing. Shinbatam Sakata Krishna. So there are a lot of these little lessons in the Bhagavatam. The one is Kapila when he starts teaching his mother. 8 verses about the glories of association with sadhus. Yes. The sadhu sangashtaka. I've given seminars on that. And then at the very end, in the 12th chapter of the 12th canto, there is a Krishna Katashtaka. There are 8 verses that are a whole lesson on the importance of Krishna Katha. And believe it or not, there's 3 verses from the 5th chapter, 1st canto, beginning, Nayad Vichas Chitta Badang Hare Yasho, the crows, the crow, and then Tad Bhagavasargo, Janataka Vindu, was probably pulled out and put in his preface. It was so important, he felt so inspired, even if imperfectly composed, because he felt, it was his second language. And then also the 3rd one, Naishkami Mapyachuta Bhava Bhajita. And Vishwanath Chakrabarti says that the whole Bhagavatam is bracketed by these 3 verses, because it comes at the beginning and at the end. So it's very fascinating. And there are so many complete lessons that you can find in the Bhagavatam
Yes,
and get like. So that's my little.
Yeah, there's so many, but Prabhu, it's just like you said. The more you mention, and Srila Prabhupada mentions that 7.1 in the purport of Ambarīṣa's
Yes,
the verse feature,
yes.
and it talks about those particular verses, and yes, that whole process. I mean, like you said, the seed, the process of devotional service, and the whole what happens. Again, roadmaps. Is this happening to us? It's for us to see, is this happening? Do I see this happening? Then you know. How do you know your bhakti is fructifying? How do you know you're on the right path? They even gave you steps. Just follow this. If you see these things, then it's working.
Yeah.
You know, I mean. And
also the second chapter starts with the question of what is the supreme dharma? And as you pointed out, that dharma is the supreme that generates janayanti, the same word, it's Sanskrit,
yes.
Pure bhakti.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Hare Krishna, that was a wonderful example with the different cantos, how Srimad Bhagavatam gives us different examples of different processes of devotional service. And you concluded with Ambarīṣa Maharaj, how he exemplified all of them. And I'm wondering, why not jump from here to the Lila, Krishna Lila? Because this is only the beginning of the 9th canto. But there's a lot more chapters that we will hear. Yeah,
because there's a lot more that we need. To tell you the truth, probably because there's more that we need to learn. I don't know. I mean, the following verses talk about how Ambarīṣa is taking care of everybody and all his duties and how he's doing all this stuff. So all I can say is that I think it's just a process of cleansing and preparation. See, the thing is that you can't understand the sweetness of Krishna unless you start from the beginning and understand his greatness. I mean, that's another thing the Bible says, greatness to sweetness, because you see all his multifarious energies and all the duties of everybody, the demigods included and all that kind of stuff. And then you come to his sweetness. So I'm thinking it's to prepare us, to prepare our heart to be able to understand those verses. Because they're I don't understand them. I offer my respects to them, read them, and move on, to tell you the truth, And what I think to myself is I need more purification. So start the Bhagavatam over again and do it again. Right?
I also wanted to appreciate that you shared with us the taste for Srimad Bhagavatam. In your class, it was strongly felt.
Well, I have to tell you guys, it's you guys that do this. When you guys have that discussions in the mornings, this is, when it says in there, what is this, Kadiyant Samam Nityam, what is it, Bodhiyantas, what's the beginning of that? Mat Chitta Matkata Prana Bodhiyantas Parasparam Amnicham Saticharam Manticha. See that? Because when you guys start talking about and you ask these questions, then I start thinking, why is that? One other thing I want to quickly say, you're talking about Rama and Sita and why he did that. So a thought that I had when I was, meditating about this is that, see, Rama is a king, again, dharma. Now, he does not suspect his wife or anything. And it wasn't just because he said this, that Vashraman said this, that he sent her to the forest. See, yadha raja tatha praja. As the king, so the subjects, right? Now, you think if Rama were to accept her, then other people will also say that I need to accept my wife. And if that wife was not like Sita and had strayed, let's say, then, and if she was pregnant, then the whole process, because see, Rama was Maryada Purushottama. He was saying how dharma was supposed to be, practice. Well, the highest dharma for those Panchama Purushartha was Pitru Devatas, right? To offer oblations to the forefathers. Well, if the child is not the child of those forefathers and that lineage, that could cause disruption of society. So Rama's primary goal is upholding the dharma of everybody. You see, so he had to do that in order to be an example so that, dharma is upheld. So that was my thought. Just wanted to share that. So just a thought. Okay. So yes, Prabhu, that's why I say it's you who do this. So when I listen to you and we discuss, I'm like, okay, let me go back in there. Let me go see what I missed. That's why Prabhupada keeps reading the Bhagavatam all the time. He probably finds so many more things. Yes.
Hare Krishna, what a great lecture. It went so quick. Since we're kind of going, in the past, you're talking about our previous discussions or debates, do you want to make any comments about our free will discussion? And I was also thinking, sometimes Krishna will take everything away from a devotee in order to help them. How does that go along with free will? So anyway.
Okay, wow. I liked what Mahārāja said. See that by chance, right? He was talking about by chance. Yeah, by chance and that free will. Is that what you mean, Dad? About? Yeah, I thought what he said was perfect. That by chance did mean free will. And I would like to go back and read again with my my overview of what I was talking about today and see more of this and see how it connects. That's what I would say. And what was the other thing you said?
I was thinking myself, about sometimes Krishna will take everything away from a devotee to help them out. How does that play into free will? Obviously,
Well, I think the thing is. See, when you say you're a devotee, or when you start chanting and you say you're devotee, it's kind of like you signed a contract in the sense with Krishna. Not a real contract, but you know what I mean? You're kind of saying, yeah, I'm in the deal. I'm partnering with you. I wanna do this thing. I want to get into this agreement with you. So you're kind of giving him a little bit of the control, So he doesn't take free will away completely, because then that means it's not a fair deal, right? But you're also, it's a partnership, it's a partnership between two parties. Remember, this is an individual thing between me and Krishna. It's a partnership, and we're coming to an agreement. Yeah, Krishna, I want to be part of this. I want to be part of you. I want to be part of this relationship. And at the same time, you're giving him the opportunity or the ability to help in what he can to do that. When you're in a relationship with somebody and you're kind of off the beaten track, does your other half say, I don't think you're on the, and I can say, for example, I was talking to my daughter and I said something. I was really not very nice, and my husband said to me, "You're being very judgmental. What happened to all your NVC training?" And I was like, it was like a cold water on your head, And so sometimes your partner or the person you're in a relationship with is gonna do something that's gonna help you. It's gonna hurt. My ego was damaged, but, you kind of, hunker down, you think about, you understand that the person obviously loves you, and, they're telling you because they want you to have a better relationship with your daughter, right? So control yourself, control your ego, just hear what they're saying, hear what they're saying, meditate on it, and then rectify the mistake. So, it's like that. So that's what I want to say about that. So the free will is there. I could have ignored it. I could have said, don't tell me what to do. How dare you talk, but we're in a relationship. That's not how you talk to somebody who you want to get close to. So we have to understand that. I hope that helps. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Okay, so Mahārāja was insistent on that there is such a thing as chance, by chance, and he said in Prabhupada's books, by chance, you met this one by chance, this happened, so. But then, I was just thinking, one of the most amazing verses in the Bhagavad Gita for me was when I read Veda Vinashyanam, what is it? The one where I know everything in the past, everything in the present, everything in the future. So, if Krishna knows, okay, you throw the the coin in the air, right? Now, you don't know if it's going to be heads or tails, right? But so therefore, you conclude, well, whether it falls one or the other is just by chance, and in other words. But is it? But if Krishna knows everything, he knows exactly the angle you threw it and how high you threw it, and so he knows what it's going to be, right? If he gets it wrong, then that verse is wrong. He knows everything. That's
Okay, you know what I'm going to say?
What?
Remember when somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, Dharmasetu Prabhu, I said this, when somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, can Krishna make a rock that is too difficult for him to lift?
Yeah.
And he said yes, and then he can again lift it, right? So I'm gonna use this, and I'm gonna say, what if Krishna decides that he doesn't want to know? He wants to, he may know it, but then he can decide not to know. Can he not?
Oh, he can decide not to know?
For the minute, yeah, why not?
I suppose so.
Right? I don't know.
I'm not going to say no.
There's
no way I'm going to say that.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Well, the question, the classic question, can Krishna create a big rock so heavy that he can't lift it?
Right.
So I said yes, but in the next moment he'll be able to lift it.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So he can. What if that's what it is? What if he decides, I'm going to close my eyes for a minute just so that they can do it? Because why not? Krishna might like surprises. Maybe he wants to see. Yeah, I mean, that's all I can say. That's what I'm thinking. I mean, like you said, he's the Lord. He can do what he wants. But isn't that what makes a relationship exciting? If you know what's going to happen at the end of the story, what's the point? Right? What is the point? So I want to say that's maybe Krishna made it so that he can. I mean, he's running away from Yasoda Mata. Why? Because Yogamaya comes in and says, because he wants to. Is he play acting? No. He is really that little child running away from his mother, petrified. Why? Because he wants to, because Yogamaya wants him to enjoy it. I mean, yeah, that whole thing. So why can't he do that?
I'll have to
yeah, I know. Let's think about it. I would love to, like I said, let's read the Bhagavatam again and see what Krishna says.
Hare Krishna, one last thing.
Yeah.
So I made the comment actually yesterday. It almost seems like Krishna is giving us free will on a continuous basis kind of thing. A little bit like what you're describing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
It is because free will is continuous because the decisions are always coming. It's not like I've decided to become a devotee and I'm done. It's not. There's so many steps to get to that point, right? So every step is a decision. And this is life.
Okay, we got to end now, but I want to run one thing by you because this came up. I'm an editor.
Yes.
So there's about these four basic rasas. Besides Santa, there's Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. Okay. So Dasya probably would sound, this is servitorship, right? But he would also sometimes call it servitude. Have you ever looked that word up? Maybe not.
I've not.
It's
okay.
slavery.
Okay.
It's slavery.
Okay.
And so I think in the context of the rasas, we need to make the servitudes into servitorships. I'm going to go through the books and do that. But then Maharaj mentioned, but sometimes devotee, they'll pray, please, oh Krishna, please make me your slave. He made me your slave. But of course, the difference there is that it's voluntary, right? And your concept of slave is that whatever you want me to do, I'll do. That type of thing. But the idea that there's a pleasure there of being Krishna's slave. It's not like slavery,
Right.
So that's an important distinction, and I think that the conventional meaning of chants doesn't apply in the spiritual world. But there's still this matter of chance. In other words, because we want it to see it, there's an excitement when it's like, oh, I'm so lucky. I got this, I got that. But we know that, you did something in your previous life to, make that qualified. But we'll forget about that for now. It's just that feeling of gratitude that I'm so lucky. But ultimately, Not a blade of grass moves without the will of Krishna.
Unless he decides to close his eyes.